We're on the right path here. All right. And then, but also not just Superman Legacy, Batman Brave and the Bold. The main rumor is that Andy Muschietti, which I'm not going to lie, I thought that seeing this is going to make it seem like I had a big dislike for the way Batman was handled, which is not true. But this, I thought that because I heard the rumors of Andy Muschietti directing Brave and the Bold before watching The Flash, and
Mm.
it seems likely that he would be the one to do it. So one thing my eye was on the lookout for was let's see how he handles Batman, and I thought he did a fine job. It was fine for the movie. It's like doesn't ultimately feel like Michael Keaton's entirely necessary. I sort of felt like some of the Ben Affleck stuff was weird, like specifically him as Batman. I thought was weird. His scene where he's just Bruce Wayne that they put in the trailers. That's a good scene, but his stuff as Batman, my biggest complaint about it was that it lost all sense of physicality and weight. It
Yeah,
was just like
I've noticed that from the trailers.
it's really noticeable, and then he's got this scene of dialogue where they're, like, on a freeway, and it just it looks silly. It looks really cartoony, and it takes away a lot of that looming menace that Ben Affleck would bring to the performance. It felt something like kind of out of Justice League, and at first I was like, "Is this because he's in the day?" But then I remember that in Zack Snyder's Justice League, there are some daytime scenes with Ben Affleck Batman, and that does not feel goofy, but it felt
Yeah,
goofy here. He did a good job with Michael Keaton, but that was really trying to, riff on what Tim Burton had already done and put him in that lighting and shadow. So Muschietti is a good director, and I'm sure he'd do something different than The Flash. The Flash did not get me less excited to see what he would do with Brave and the Bold, but it definitely didn't get me more excited to see what he would do for Brave and the Bold.
I
That's
mean, you
just
did it. That's pretty dark. That's quite a dark movie.
he tends to do
Um,
dark stuff, yeah.
and I think they've said Brave and the Bold's going to be based off Grant Morrison's run, which
Mhm.
is quite a colourful run. Uh, Frank, I want to say Frank Quitely did the. Oh, I don't think he did. I'm going to quickly Google it so I
Do
don't
it.
make myself look stupid. Edit this out, everyone. Batman Omnibus One, which I'm so we'll so yeah, that is quite a colourful run anyway. It's
Well, Brave and the Bold's supposed to
Tony Daniel,
yeah,
that was it.
it has to be a
Um,
little bit self-aware. I mean, you're bringing in, like, a little kid who's gonna be Robin, like, you
yeah,
gotta have a sense of fun and self-awareness. It's gotta really distinguish itself from Pattinson's Batman, which will be very dark and brooding and serious, and then to separate it within its own universe, the main canon timeline, I think having that one
yeah,
be a little bit more fun makes sense. So, yeah, I'm cool with this one being more colorful and fun.
yeah, exactly. But from what you've said about the physicality, I think that is kind of a shame. It was Chris Burnham. Sorry, guys, I've let myself down. Was it Chris Burnham? It probably wasn't. Making this worse and worse. People are screaming at the TV and the haters. Sorry, guys, I apologize for that. So what happened? So what I've seen from the trailers is that it looks l- like I don't know. He's kind of bouncing off cars and stuff, and jumping around. Whereas when you compare that to the
The warehouse.
warehouse scene
Mhm.
from Batman v Superman, that felt very physical.
Yeah.
That really did. Oh, I think it might have been Chris Burnham. I'm back, baby. I'm back. I got it right. So yeah, it's kind of. I mean, just Batman in daylight in general is a bit weird to me, but I kind of feel like he's someone who should come out at night. If you've seen From, I basically think Batman should be like the monsters from
Mm,
where he's they do it great in the Dark Knight where the criminals are kind of moving around and then they see this signal in the sky. It's the same way that Matt Reeves starts
yeah.
the Batman. Like you think how good that opening scene at the start of the Batman is when Bruce is kind of talking about how they think he's hiding in the shadows. He is the shadows.
Mm.
That's what I think Batman should be. But I mean, Muschietti getting this job as well also likely means that he's not going to be doing the Flash 2 because he'll be committed to this for the next couple of years.
Sure.
And before the lead up to the movie, they're talking about how they would want Ezra back for the sequel.
Mhm.
But the fact that Andy Muschietti's going on to do Batman and Brave and the Bold potentially, like how can you have him back? for that. If I don't like that, to me, it's almost doesn't. It kind of contradicts itself because you're hiring this guy to do Batman Brave and the Bold, but we also want to do a Flash sequel. It's weird. To me, you would kind of keep the director on for one of those projects and work the sequels from there. So I don't really. In my heart of hearts, I do feel like they're gonna let Ezra go, but they're just gonna do it in a way that I don't know. I mean, they probably are seeing what the audience response is going to be, but if if this movie bombs, I think they are going to put the blame on Ezra for it. And yeah, I think I just don't know that though Warner Brothers is saying like, oh, we haven't really discussed what's happening with Ezra. With this much money involved, well, we're looking at a $300 million budget here.
Mhm.
With that much money involved, they will have had conversations saying, probably at some point even saying, is it possible to reshoot the movie without Ezra? Like those conversations will of course come up. We even talked about it, and we've got no stake in this film at all. So yeah, we will see what happens. But the fact that they'd even be asking those questions shows to me that there's doubt in the minds of them, and I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what
Personally, I
happens.
would love it to do well. Our channels always do better when movies do well. We're not hate channels. We don't get hate clicks a lot of the time. Tends to be when a show's not doing well or a movie's not doing well, our videos don't do well. So praying that they do well, but we just gotta stay realistic with this stuff as well, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dislike button doesn't work anymore either, so unlucky, mate. You could have told us how you felt, you sucker.
It works. It works, Paul. They just can't see how many dislikes there are, but we see them, and I always count them every
One
time,
by one.
one
Yeah.
by one. Like, and I try to
There's
find out
500 dislikes now.
why.
Yeah.
They can't even see it. They just did it for me, just for me to see
Yeah.
the dislikes. Evil.
It's like when you're driving along and you stick your fingers up under like the door. You know what I mean? So the car next to you can't see it, but you're doing it. It's
Yeah,
basically that.
it's just an energy you need to put out there.